They beat her until she couldn't stand, zip-tied her wrists, chained her to a concrete block, then threw her into the middle of the ocean, letting the waves finish the job. No boat, no radio, no chance. Just salt, blood, and open water. What they didn't know was that she wasn't just an intel officer. She was a Navy SEAL. And while they sailed off assuming she'd sink and vanish, she fought through hypothermia, blood loss, and even a 12-foot shark, then came back with the people who owned those waters. Before we show you how she turned that freighter into a battlefield, and made the man who tried to drown her beg for mercy, hit that subscribe button, tap the bell, and drop a comment telling us where in the world you're watching from. Because this isn't just survival, this payback. The sky was black glass smeared with stars, and the sea barely moved. But Commander Mara Quinn felt everything. The roll under her knees, the salt on her cracked lips, the diesel-stained air mixed with something darker. She knelt on the steel deck, hands zip-tied behind her, ankles shackled to a slime-covered cinder block, barefoot, one boot lost in the struggle, the other 10 feet away. For 2 days they tried to break her, asking about routes, schedules, encryption keys. She gave them nothing. Not her clearance level, not her team, not even her middle name. So they shifted from interrogation to punishment. Waterboarding, stress positions, sleep deprivation beside roaring engines. Still nothing. That's when they decided she was more dangerous alive than useful. Buzzards don't circle water, one muttered. Eastern European accent. Contract muscle. Hired to clean up, not ask questions. Another blue cigarette smoke sideways. She'll be crab meat by dawn. None of them used her name, that was the point. Commander Mara Quinn didn't exist on this ship. She'd vanished somewhere between Djibouti and Mombasa, just like they wanted. Except she was still breathing. You sure she isn't tagged? One asked. The smoker grabbed her jaw, twisted her face toward a floodlight. Blood streaked from a cut above her brow, one eye swollen nearly shut. She's clean, he grunted. They never checked her wetsuit liner, and even if they had, they wouldn't have noticed the small ridge stitched behind her knee. A backup blade, waterproof, ceramic, invisible to metal detectors. The third man didn't speak. He just dragged the cinder block toward the edge. Her knees scraped raw against the metal. She didn't fight, not yet. She was conserving oxygen. The sea opened below like a black grave. Bye-bye, American, the smoker said. Kicking the block, she dropped silently. Water swallowed her whole. The weight pulled her fast, but she stayed calm. Twisted her body to stay vertical. 10 feet, 20, 30. Darkness swallowed everything. Her fingers searched for the hidden blade. Found it. She angled it and began sawing. DevGru combat divers had a saying, if you can move a finger, you can still cut your way out. She'd once heard it in a training pool at Fort Story. Felt dramatic then. Now it was survival. Her lungs burned, ears popped, zip-tie digging deeper with every foot the block sank. 35, 40. The ocean groaned around her, the freighter's hull echoing above. She didn't look up, that instinct killed people. She focused only on the blade-biting plastic. One more pull. One more scrape. Snap. The tie broke. She kicked off the block, pulled her knees high, ignoring the chain-tearing skin at her ankles. Blood clouded behind her. She rose fast, slipping the knife back in place, fingers finding the slim flotation sleeve hidden in her belt. 5 feet from the surface she yanked it. CO2 hissed. She burst through the water, gasping. The ocean stretched empty in every direction. No ship, no lights, nothing. She turned slowly, letting Orion's angle guide her toward the distant oil flare she'd glimpsed hours before capture. Her beacon should have pinged the moment she planted it on the hull. Someone should be listening. If not, she'd float until she couldn't. The flare blinked. 10 nautical miles. A chance. She adjusted the flotation sleeve, tied fabric tight around her thigh to slow the bleeding, and whispered a mantra. Pain is noise. Noise is useful. She paddled slow, efficient. But the sea was colder now, stealing feeling from her fingers. Blood loss steady. Time running out. She had 4 hours before hypothermia decided for her. Maybe 6 if luck stayed close. The flare still looked impossibly far. Then the water shifted. Temperature dropped. Pressure changed. Something moved beneath her. A bump against her foot. Not current, alive. 12 feet of muscle slid beneath her. An oceanic whitetip. A wreck hunter. A survivor's shark. It circled once, vanished, then returned closer. Mara didn't panic. Didn't thrash. She remembered her instructor's voice. Stay vertical. Make eye contact. You're not prey unless you act like it. She straightened. Knife reversed in her weakened grip, kicking once to look bigger as the shark curved back toward her. Commander Mara Quinn flared her left arm wide, turning just enough to let the shark's lunge pass. Its rough skin grazed her leg, just enough to taste blood. The creature rolled under her and looped around again. She hissed, not in fear but timing. When it lunged a second time, more direct, more committed, she struck first. Knife forward. A clean drive into the gill slit. The shark thrashed violently. Its flank slammed into her hip, ripping the blade free. Salt water filled her mouth as she went half under, but she refused to release the knife. She surfaced coughing, chest burning, eyes locked on where it vanished. It circled again, slower this time, then peeled away. Moments later, the decoy flare clipped to her belt ignited underwater, casting a trail of heat and light. The shark followed. The ocean slowly settled. Mara's heartbeat hammered. She'd won not by strength but discipline. She reoriented herself toward the flare's last known direction and started paddling. Dawn broke. Thin gold streaks cut across the horizon like the sky had been ripped open with a dull blade. The water shimmered calm, cold, creeping deep into her bones. Her lips were cracked, her jaw tight, breath ragged. Stroke, pause, float, repeat. The current dragged her west of the flare, but she kept recalibrating. Star to port, wind to stern, one eye swollen shut, the other watching. Then she heard it. A low hum beneath the wind. Rotors. She forced her body upright against her flotation sleeve. A black silhouette moved across the rising sun. Not commercial. No contrails. Angular wings. Twin engines. MH-60 Seahawk. Navy bird. Too high. Too fast. But it was her only shot. Her fingers barely worked. Swollen. Stinging. White at the knuckles. But she still had her fallback mirror on a retractable cord. She yanked it free, angled it to the sun. Flash. Pause. Flash, flash. 3 seconds. Repeat. Inside the Seahawk cockpit, the sensor operator frowned. Glint off the water. 11 o'clock low. The pilot leaned in. That reflection is too rhythmic for wave scatter. Could be a decoy? The crew chief muttered. They've used mirrors on buoys before. Draw us in. No buoys in this region, the co-pilot replied. And we've got a heat bloom, human temperature, drifting. The pilot exhaled. Not a decoy. Decoys don't bleed. He banked the helicopter hard left. On the surface, Mara was fading. Her shoulders felt nailed in place. Her lips moved without words. She kept flashing the mirror even when she had to rest it against her chest. Then the wind shifted. Warm, dry, violent. Rotor wash. The Seahawk circled overhead. Door open. A diver dropped into the water like a shadow. Another followed. Mara let her head fall back and closed her eyes. For the first time since they threw her off that boat, she stopped kicking. Hands grabbed her. Strong. Certain. U.S. Navy. You're safe. Her eye opened. She whispered one word. Tracked vessel. The diver froze. Commander Mara Quinn? She nodded weakly. The beacon was real. Then her body gave out, even if her mind stayed awake. She didn't remember the lift. One moment, cold hands braced her neck. The next, the ocean dropped away beneath her. Rotor wash blasted seawater across her face as she rose toward the bird. Strapped into a sling, body limp, boots trailing, blood dripping from her thigh into the void. A gloved hand hauled her inside the MH-60. Get her down now. The cabin exploded with noise, voices, equipment, rattling doors. She hit a stretcher. A thermal blanket pressed to her chest. BP's tanking. 82/43. She's freezing internally. For saline. Heat packs. Gauze. Scissors cutting through her vest. Her skin was gray, marked by deep pressure lines. "Ma'am," the medic said gently. "Stay with me. What's your name?" Her head turned slightly, lips cracked. "Mara. Quinn. Commander." Another medic leaned in. "We need to divert back. She won't make it." "No," she rasped. "Turn around." "Turn around where?" Her shaking hand lifted toward the eastern horizon. "Freighter weapons. Hidden manifest. 2 hours max." Silence fell across the cabin. The crew chief stepped forward. "You have proof." Mara's voice thinned to a whisper. "Pinged it. Before they caught me. Beacon lower hull, port side." At the sensor station, a screen blinked. "We're getting telemetry. Weak but stable." The pilot's voice crackled through the comms. "Say again, what beacon?" "Classified Navy tracker," the operator said. "Passive magnetic. Not standard." "She must have planted it." Mara tried to sit up. The medic pushed her down. "They think I'm dead," she said. "They won't run. If you move now." The crew chief didn't hesitate. "Patch us through to Seahorse Command. Task Unit 24.5. We have a live intel asset in critical condition requesting intercept authority." The medic glared. "This isn't how it works. You need evac. You're septic." Mara locked eyes with him. "I said turn the bird." The medic paused, then finally keyed the mic. "Pilot, she has echo clearance. We're turning." The Seahawk banked hard east, slicing across the waves. Mara closed her eyes, just for a moment. Then she reached for the crewman. "Pen." He hesitated. She pointed at the back of her own hand. "Rendezvous coordinates." "Before I forget." Inside the Seahawk, the air smelled of heat packs, iodine, sweat. Mara lay across the portside bench, wrapped in foil, for line swaying. Her right leg was splinted, blood still seeping. A medic adjusted the drip every 30 seconds. "She stands," she crashes. But Mara wasn't listening. She was focused on the crew chief's tablet, on the blinking red dot beneath the container ship hull. "That's the ping," she whispered. "You're tracking it live?" "Barely," he said. "Modified freighter. No call sign. No cargo log. No transponder. Might be posing as a medical aid carrier." "They're smuggling weapons," Mara said. "Navy surplus crates. Serial numbers scratched off." The pilot spoke through the comms. "Rerouting south-southeast. 2 hours to intercept. No ROE yet." "Then get them issued," Mara said. "This isn't suspicion. It's evidence." The crew exchanged glances. "You're not just an analyst, are you?" "Naval Intelligence Liaison," she said. "DevGru affiliate. Echo 6 clearance. When transmission is compromised, that gives me temporary field authority." The comms specialist relayed the request upward. Mara continued. "Beacons on the portside hull, just below the waterline. If the signal stops, they submerged it. That's your kill switch." "You planted it after they caught you?" the medic asked. "I planted it because they caught me." She scribbled shaky numbers on her hand. "Private dock in Puntland. Mercenary security. If they dock, we lose the cargo before we get probable cause. So we intercept en route?" "No," Mara whispered. "You follow until backup arrives." The comms officer turned. "Command looping in a submersible unit. Closest naval asset already submerged, USS Colorado. 1 hour to reposition." Mara tried to sit up again. "I'm going on that sub." "You're barely alive," the medic snapped. "Then keep me that way." Moonlight shimmered over the water as the USS Colorado broke the surface. Silent, predatory. A steel shadow rising to breathe. The Seahawk circled once, then hovered low. A stretcher line lowered. Mara descended slow, controlled not like cargo, but like authority. 2 SEALs in black dry suits met her on deck. No words, just firm grips. They moved her inside, down a narrow ladder, into the warm, low-ceiling control room glowing with green console lights. A junior officer handed her a towel and electrolyte paste. She tore it open and swallowed instantly. "Ma'am," the XO began. "We were briefed en route." Mara tapped the tablet in her hand. "You've got the ping data. Targets shifting 3 degrees west. Still heading toward Puntland but skirting the normal shipping lane." She narrowed her eyes. "Someone tipped them off." "It wasn't us," the SEAL team leader said, stepping forward. He was stocky, close-cropped, eyes like flint. "Commander Rafe Morgan, Task Unit 24.5. We've got 6 men, full SDV capability, and 2 underwater ingress options." "You've run this route before?" Mara asked. "3 times. Somali coast is loose netting. Ports leak. What do you need?" "SDV insert at 1.5 nautical. East approach. If they spot anyone, they'll expect boarding from starboard." "You're riding in?" he asked, surprised. She nodded. "I planted the beacon. I know the layout. They shift containers to block upper access decks. I can walk you through blind." Rafe glanced at the medic. "She'll hold," the medic said. "But not for long." Mara leaned over the planning table. A 3D model of the freighter hovered above the projector. Red containers. A blinking yellow dot at the hull. "They've got about 90 minutes before landfall. After that, the cargo disappears, washed, buried, sold to people who don't keep receipts." "So we get one shot," Rafe muttered. Mara marked 3 red X's on the schematic. "Entry ladders here. Dry access to interrogation hold here. Hostile bunks forward. Weapons cache mid-deck. Take them quiet. We only get 1 clean hit." One of the SEALs asked, "How many hostiles?" "Confirmed 8 while I was detained. Could be 10 if they rotated crew at the last port. Mostly contractors, Balkan or Russian. Former military but sloppy. They rely on isolation, not skill." She zoomed on the engine room. "They have no backup generator. Kill main power, and they're blind for 45 seconds. That's your window." Rafe studied her. "You counted seconds while they were beating you." "I counted everything." A junior tech handed her an encrypted earpiece. "You're Vulture 6. "It fits," she said. "You don't owe them this," Rafe added quietly. Mara met his eyes. Glass shattered and soldered back together. "They threw me into the ocean. Now I'm bringing the tide." Twin SDVs slid from the USS Colorado like shadows. Silent, low profile. Mara crouched in the rear of the lead craft, rifle across her lap. Every inch of her body burned, but her hands stayed steady. 60 meters to intercept, Rafe said over comms. No sonar pings. Freighter running blind. Through the small viewport, Mara saw the faint pulse of her beacon. A heartbeat in the dark. "Portside intake vents," she said. "Midline hull seam. It leads to ballast compartments. Still unlocked last I checked." The SDV angled upward beneath the looming freighter. "Roger," Rafe said. Stacking left. The seals detached, rising like ghosts. Mara followed, slower, pain gnawing at every kick. She found the vent latch and pulled it. The panel gave. She slipped through the narrow duct, scraping rust and bolts. Inside the ballast cavity, dead silence, stale water, the echo of her breathing. The team regrouped and moved through tight channels to the internal ladder. Mara climbed first. At the top, the engine room hatch waited. She placed her hand on the latch, counted 5 seconds, and lifted. Heat, diesel rumble. No footsteps. She pointed to a blind corner by the backup generator. 2 guards rotate here. They usually sleep between shifts. Their cabins are past that bulkhead. They moved through fake medical crates and grain sacks hiding ammunition tubes. Every turn matching her memory, every corner once used against her now reclaimed. At the stairwell, Mara took point. She tapped her comm, Vulture 6 in position. "Permission to breach." "Granted," Rafe replied. The door blew. Seals surged. Suppressed bursts. No screams. 3 guards dropped before they could react. Mara stepped onto the deck behind them. No limp, no hesitation. The freighter's bridge tower rose ahead. 2 shadows inside. One fled. One froze. Mara keyed her mic. I want the bridge. Don't fire unless fired on. She entered alone. There he was, the contractor who chained her ankles, who spat on her boots. His confidence cracked. You? He choked out. He reached for the console, panic button or desperation. She kicked his wrist, slammed her rifle muzzle into his chest, then cuffed him with a plastic tie. Rafe, she said. Primary target secured. Bring the manifest scanner. He's gonna help us label every stolen round. She tied him to the chair. You should have shot me, she said. He didn't answer, but the fear flickered in his hands. Outside, SEALs cataloged crates and prepped the helipad for extraction. The sun breached the horizon. Commander Mara Quinn stood on the ship they tried to erase her from. Rafe joined her. What's the call? She looked over the sea. Sail it home. Then, to the audience. Could you survive being thrown bleeding into open ocean with a shark circling beneath you? Would you still have the strength to take the fight back to those who left you to die? Tell me in the comments. I read every one. If the story hit harder than you expected, hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss a mission. Share this with someone who still thinks Navy SEALs only fight on land. And when you're done, your next story is already waiting on screen. I'll see you there tomorrow.